Like it really makes you think about what you're building. Hey, I want to get my project finished and get it done, but now I have this anxiety around that. Hey, is my code good? Did the vibe code leave some back doors? Welcome to Fire Talks by Tech Wing Bites. I'm Clint. I've built software, led teams, and now a founder, helping builders who are ready to make the leap, but can't quite see the path yet. Every episode is one conversation closer to clarity on ownership, execution, and momentum. The topic today is the positive changes in AI and what that can bring. My name is Clint.
So, name's David C. Holm, longtime tech executive and advocate of technology and of business leadership, and working on starting my own business at the moment as well.
Wonderful. So today I wanted to dive in. We've seen a lot of negative things about AI. What AI is being used for is being used in the war. Is being used to hack. As of today, Anthropic dropped their Glasswing model mythos that they are limited to a certain amount of big tech firms so that they can patch before the real deal comes. But that opens up a bunch of other negative angles of where other model platforms such as OpenAI could potentially say, well, forget that, I'm just going to release it, and puts it in the hands of bad actors. And of course that opens the world of bad things, and we can go down all those different paths. But what I wanted to do today was kind of talk on the opposite. What can we really use AI for from a positive standpoint, and how we can continue to push a positive angle on the use of AI. Welcome, Tony. I just gave the introduction, but happy to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself, and then we'll get into the theme.
Well, Tony, CEO Ola Billy. I've been doing software engineering in some way, shape, or form for the better part of the millennium. At this point. I don't mind aging myself. It's fine.
It's all right. It's all right. We all there.
It's good. So I'm always glad to take a part in this. So just let me know what's going on.
So just a quick recap. The introduction was really about there's a lot of negative spins on AI in the world, and today we're trying to focus on the positive spins. The big call out of the big negative thing is, if you haven't heard about it, the mythos Glasswing from Anthropic, and if we talk about that, we can go down all the negative angles, right? Let's say we got our hands on that. What's the positive spin on using a model like that?
Ooh, the positive spin on using a model like that. Well, if done right, I think one of the more positive things will probably end up being just the fact that fingers crossed, your models, your software will be ideally more secure. You should be able to find, in theory, more, I'd say, you can find exploits. And here's the thing, I think, actually, now thinking more about it, exploits, yes, they're bad, but at the same time, they actually give you a guideline as to what to do right. Right. So, if we're talking about the gamification of things, which you talked about a little bit before, right?
Yeah.
When you find something that you can exploit, it's not necessarily a breaking of the game so much as you found something that you can use, reuse, and is it necessarily what they intended? No, but now you're finding out new things. You're finding out more about what this system and what this game is about.
Yeah. I see that, and I don't want to go too far down this path. But that is the leverage of the game. It's like a company's IP, right? That's private. That's theirs. That's their cheat, so to speak, right? That's their advantage, right? And with with these tools, I think it's cool that it gives you the opportunity to find exploits, right? That you can say, okay, let me put a positive spin on that. But but the big deal is the whole 0-day concept. I assume you guys understand what 0-day is, right? Or zero hack.
Yeah, zero. Yeah,
Yeah, we should probably go ahead and define that, though. Yeah, but just, I mean, so I said we should probably define 0-day. So a 0-day exploit is, something where you can attack a piece of software or a piece of hardware from an previously unknown vulnerability, right? And that gets in the hand of an attacker, and they start using it before you know about it. So it's the 0th day of the known exploit. Is where that name comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, kind of along the same lines, I mean, there's an individual that has a YouTube channel that goes by Low Level. Guy is like a hardware level interface kind of hacker. Specializes in that realm. But once you start getting into this stuff, there's a lot of specialties in there, and that's kind of his specialty level. And he actually ran through some of the exploits that Anthropic has published that they found with Mythos, and they're pretty extraordinary. It's something that you really probably couldn't do without a large language model. They're doing things like finding one of the DVD encoding standards for video playback standards. They found an attack where you had to like sequence it just right, and they were actually able to take it where it was an actual exploit. It wasn't just a vulnerability. And there's like 20 steps to being able to discover, and you need to know like some real special stuff in some very disparate areas of technology to be able to pull that off. So I think you're going to discover a lot of things like that there. But I would kind of go back to like the EDR realm of things. I don't know if you guys are familiar with so yeah, it's where detection and response effectively, where you have a network and you have a bunch of sensors on your network, and it's feeding everything back into a SIM, and you have the EDR system that's running against all the information coming into the SIM and saying, hey, these are your vulnerabilities, right, that you have inside of your network right now across all of your user base, etc. And they're great at detecting the things that they're tuned for. But after 4 or 5 iterations and you fix all the things that it found, just this kind of, it becomes noise. Like you get a report that says that you're all good, or you might find 1 or 2 things every once in a while that you need to go and patch, but it's not really doing a whole lot there in the background anymore. And I think that this is likely to be one of those things. I think that there's a whole lot of stuff that's going to come out, and then 4 or 5 iterations down the line, and we stop seeing those issues anymore. But does that mean that there's no vulnerabilities out there? No, it just means that this model has run its course effectively for finding big chunks of them. And I reached out to somebody that I know that runs a company that actually specializes in finding unknown software vulnerabilities. It's called Delphos Labs. He's the CTO of that company, and he did something very, very similar. There have been a lot of things that have come out, and there's one company in particular that runs their large language model, and their CEO likes to say that, oh, this is world changing, like everybody's going to lose their jobs, right? And then it gets released, and that's not really the case. Or the companies that did, let everybody go are regretting it, kind of thing, right? So he views it the same way, because I mean, this is a direct threat to his company, and he's not worried about it at all. He thinks that there's going to be impact, obviously, but it's not going to be earth shattering or anything. We're not going to fall back into the dark ages because Mythos comes out and starts giving.
No, I wouldn't imagine.
Well, I mean, there's Mythos, right? That's where we are right now. But like, if I'm not mistaken, I saw a headline. I didn't click on it. But is it possible that OpenAI is going to release something, or Perplexity releases something that is of the same kind of caliber of finding these exploits, but then release it to all of us? They won't have the same concern as, say, Anthropic, right?
So throw
I
it out.
don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it's like, whoa, hold on. Like it really makes you think about what you're building, right? Like what you're building now. Like, hey, I want to get my project finished and get it done. But now I have this anxiety around that. Hey, is my code good? I vibe coded it. Did the vibe code leave some back doors?
Oh well, you already have that problem.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
you absolutely already have that problem.
Yeah.
Slop squatting, prompt injection, all the things.
Wait.
Even with
What was the first thing you said? Soft what?
Slop squatting.
Oh,
Are you not hearing me very well? Here, I'll move this. There we go.
Slop squatting?
Yes, sir.
I gotta look that up. give me a little.
Yeah. Okay, so slop squatting is you know, go look in npm, right? There's tens of thousands of packages sitting out there, and a very small number of them are actually maintained anymore. As a threat actor, I can go out and pick one of those up because they're all open source, or I can fork it, or I can go actually take over the maintenance of it, and then I can start putting malicious things in there. It still solves a real problem that people might want to pull that package in for, but it also has a bunch of malicious code in there. So as soon as you pull that into your project, then therefore you've just introduced this vulnerability. That's one form of slop squatting. Sometimes they're just completely built from scratch and put out there to solve a general problem, and they have nasty stuff in them. But you throw that stuff out in the world, and then you have to go and seed Stack Overflow and a bunch of other places where these models go and learn how to actually write code, because then it sees it, thinks that that's a solution that it can use. But in any case, there's a ton of examples of this actually happening. Fancy Bear, I believe, is the one that has been most active. If you're not familiar with Fancy Bear, they're one of the persistent threat actors out of Russia. So
Fancy Bear. What a name.
Yeah, Fancy Bear, then you have Cozy Bear. So Fancy Bear is the one that does the fancy stuff, and Cozy Bear is the one that does a lot of the social engineering type stuff, they're the ones that were allocated for the 2016 election things. But in any case, those are the two more common. There's a lot of other ways that the stuff. But if you're vibe coding, you're not checking your code, or you don't know how to write software, and it has something critical like payments or anything like that, or PII in it, you're really yourself up a whole lot of risk.
Cursor is not checking in code. They just said they don't.
Yeah.
You said it's not checking your code.
They're not checking it's vibe coded, and I don't know how real that is. So
the company Cursor said that they are not checking the code.
I saw an article. You need to crush to check it, but it was like the article read they just admitted they're not building or touching code. I took the assumption that they also are not looking at it. They're just releasing it. Of course, they have their test blocks or whatever. They're looking at the end user product, but not the code like we used to do, code reviews and things of the sort.
So you're saying the code that they're using. So they're using Codex or whatever to generate their code, and they're not checking that when they actually commit it for themselves.
Right. Yeah, so they have the AI agent coder that's coding it, and they probably managing that to some extent, but there's no eyes on code. There's eyes on telling it what to do. That's how I interpreted it, which terrified me, because even though I do some vibe code, and I still peek at the code. It's like,
right, you have to.
I would need you don't necessarily.
Okay, you don't have.
So I would want more detail about what they meant. They don't go through the code. It's they might be piping all of if they're using Claude or any of them, really, all the actions are turned into JSON, and you can actually capture those and pipe those through into a local seam or an offsite seam, and go and check all that stuff against things. So that's not technically looking at the code, but you're checking all the actions. So who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I had a question here. And I think the question angle just changed, right? It was about broken systems, like using AI to fix something that's broken, whether it be the operating system, existing app, or something of the sort. And the question goes, um, if you didn't have to worry about your AI token budget, right? Like, would you still go after it? But now like we started to talk about mythos and stuff. I'm gonna start thinking, it's like, how would you even know your system is broken? Like, other than the obvious, right? Like, would you say, you know what, I want to go ahead and use, let's say we have access to mythos or anything like that, I want to use AI to check my application for vulnerabilities, and I don't want to have to worry about tokens. Would you do that if you didn't have to worry about tokens? Like, nah, it's good enough. You know, my self tests and my TDD and end-to-end tests is just fine.
No, I mean, I do, and I do it without tokens. I mean, no, that's what your CI pipeline's for, right?
Right.
Yeah, test
We've been, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of vulnerability testing in there.
Yeah, but I mean, but you could miss it, right? You could.
Oh yeah,
of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So
not could. How much are you missing? Like, it's happening.
Point.
Right. Yeah. We miss the tests. Never cover everything. Like, that's probably the biggest thing I've learned, is that no matter what you think you can cover, there's always something that you didn't.
For sure. So then, if you didn't have to worry about an AI budget, and what would you change about your dev process now? Like, you have a pipeline, you have some people don't do load testing, right? Like, they do some basic stuff, but they don't do load testing to see, and then they put it out. You get 1,000 million users and then shit crash. So what would you use it for? That's why I'm asking. I would use it for load testing. And
load testing is a good. I mean, load testing is a good one, because that's something that I don't really have a lot of opportunity to do per se. I mean, it's always been good at writing tests, but it's something like Mythos, where it's supposed to be catching vulnerabilities. I would have it at the very least checking the npm packages potentially that I would be using, even though I'm only using a little bit for React, and I'm not using that much.
Yeah.
I would still have it check those packages, especially something like, say, for example, like a cryptography.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I would definitely have it run through that, just because I would suspect that it was designed for those type of checks.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I would try to use it for what it's designed for. And then, yes, well, obviously my curiosity would have me have it try to see, like, what are the different ways that this can get broken.
Right. That's definitely a positive spin on using it. David, what would you use it for?
Oh, what would I use Mythos for?
Yeah, if you didn't have to worry about tokens, and you had to use your AI, whether it be Mythos or whatever, to like go after and find something in your broken system, in your in your vulnerable system. Like, for me, I definitely like the load testing option, right? Because if you try to do that now in A/B testing, that's a lot of tokens. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna trust what I already have built in, and I'm gonna go for it. But what would you choose?
Yeah, so I would use it to investigate so increasingly, supply chain attacks are the thing today, right? And increasingly, the target of the supply chain attack is actually the developer or the developer machine. And so we're having to quickly get more sophisticated about how we secure the development machine. And effectively, we're pulling all the tools from network security down into the system level, or individual system, the endpoint level. And I would use it to bash on that a bit. I would use it for scanning all the npms, but that also goes back into the developer and the zero trust model that's going on in the development machine, and the actions that Claude's allowed to take versus what it did take, and cross-checking all those things, because it all ties back together. So I would do that. Testing the network architecture and security of cloud compute. All those things. I would use it for those. Network security. Bashing on the network security. Is the IDP, IDS stuff set up correctly?
I know
is it malicious things? Yeah. Is it blocking stuff, etc.? Yeah.
That was my first guess for you, network security.
Oh, actually, no. Yeah. No, I think it needs to start at the endpoint now. The network security stuff is important, but it's becoming less and less the target. So, I mean, the whatever is being targeted the most is what you need to spend the most time securing. And right now, development machines are the things that are being targeted the most in supply chain tech. Yeah.
I would imagine the people too. I mean, it's the social engineering portion of it, but you can't really use mythos to.
Well, if you're reporting actions,
you might be able to. So like using mythos or any.
Or something.
Any because I'm sure the next 2 days we're gonna hear about some other stuff. But in the area of finding vulnerabilities, definitely a positive way to use it. But if we switch it to the human side or the nature side or the living side, like here's a few things I have written down: heart disease, or any type of disease that you can use it for early detection. The power grid / energy, renewable energy, is that even possible? We got solar, right? Is that efficient enough? Can we use AI to kind of help there? In nature, we do a lot of to get for humans to get our comfort. We do a lot of destruction within nature. How can we use it to kind of maintain certain ecosystems? And lastly, teaching and learning. I know I use AI a lot to learn, but I see that it could potentially be a good teacher. You have a higher chance of being fair, maybe. I don't know. Well, any of those categories jump out of you guys?